What are we actually going to learn this week? So there's a lot of speculation that the House of Commons could reverse what we heard from the House of Lords, putting Theresa May ready to trigger Article 50.
In theory, yes. So what we learned today probably is that Theresa May will get the power to invoke Article 50. The rebellions that we reported over the weekend, whether they have enough people to overcome the Lords' amendments, is suggesting they don't. And so, in theory, as soon as the Parliament passes the law and it's signed off, Theresa May could have tomorrow be invoking Article 50 as early as tomorrow. Although Bloomberg reporting at the weekend that one option that's being discussed is she doesn't actually pull the trigger tomorrow. She says she's going to do it at the end of the month. So a statement that she'll deliver tomorrow is the big focus.
When, Stephanie, Article 50 gets triggered, I have a chart actually showing us daily moves around euro. Are you expecting this to be a lot more volatile? Does it spike up or down?
You know, at some level, this is one of those times where economists say, surely this isn't a surprise. You know, why would the markets react to this? You know, it can be a matter of the mood music, you know, and if you have a bit more of a tussle over the next day or two in the House of Commons, or some possibility of going back to the House of Lords and having trouble with the House of Lords, then that could cause a bit more volatility. But I think that the basic path that we're looking at, if anything, is a bit clearer than people suggest. You know, Theresa May has been quite clear that it is going to be quite a hard form of Brexit, and if you think that has implications for the currency, most of that should be priced in, though I would say most people are expecting as we go through this process that you'll be seeing a trending down of the currency.
Simon Kennedy, help those of us removed from this love fest of yours called Brexit. Do you know the date calendar right now? Do you have a better idea of what happens this year and then what happens into next year as well?
Well, as soon as Theresa May invokes Article 50, actually the power is ceded to the European Union. She's controlled the clock so far, but she invokes Article 50. That puts her on a 2-year countdown in which to get this deal, and at the end of which we fall out of Europe, regardless of the deal. The immediate calendar is that as soon as she pulls the trigger, if she does so this week, or gives enough warning that she's going to do so by the end of the month, the Europeans will likely gather in Brussels on April the 6th, and then they'll set their guidelines. But we could see delays in actual engagement till after the French election, potentially even the German election. What really happens this week when Article 50 is pulled, if it's this week or beyond, is the control of the countdown goes to Europe.
Who in Europe controls the debate? I mean, if they vote and it shifts to a European discussion, what institution controls that debate?
Well, in theory, the negotiations are going to be led by Michel Barnier of the European Commission. But that suggests that there won't be any friction between the Commission and the capitals. We've already seen some signs of it. We've also seen remarkable unity. Angela Merkel's government releasing a document to its officials last week in which they talked about the importance to negotiate with one voice, the importance of maintaining unity. The British will probably hope that that doesn't actually occur, that they can pick off allies perhaps in the eastern part of the bloc, perhaps even Spain, as we reported last week. So while Michel Barnier may well be the lead negotiator, certainly someone like Angela Merkel, Jean-Claude Juncker, even perhaps the new French president, whoever that might be, are going to have quite a say. The hopes of Europe is they'll stand united, and that'll be harder for Theresa May. The hopes of Britain will be there'll be some chinks in the armour.